welcome to the 2020 Anime Year in Review panel. My name is Gippy. This is a live panel, so I can read your chat, and we have this lovely little layout where you can actually see the chat on the screen because we want to record all of your reactions during the panel. And here with me is Marisa, like Toho Marisa, and introduce yourself. Yeah.
I'm Marisa. I watch a lot of anime and I collect figures.
Yep. So, both of us have watched well over 500 anime. I know a lot of people have watched more than that, but we do want to pump up our credentials just to know, just so that you know you can trust us. So our Mao accounts are on the screen right there. I've done this panel for 6 years now, starting in 2015. Marissa's been my partner in crime for 3. So if you like this, then we'll do the panel again next year. And big shout out to the Otakuthon staff for having us every year. It's been great. I also do an event at Otakuthon called Anime Speedtune. I also did Waifu Wars at Otakuthon at home last year. So you might have seen me do those events. But let's move on. Right now it's I have to click the panel. Let's move on. We've got a lot to talk about. So right now we're just introducing ourselves. This panel is going to cover one anime, 1 minute. And each slide covers one anime in 1 minute. That's the only way we can cover so many anime. Now. You might see that some of the genres are missing, such as romance. It's because for those missing genres, we feel that like for romance, there's 2 types. There's a slice of life romance where it's softer, more happy, and there's a harder romance which is drama. So for genres like those, we divvied them up into the more heavier genre slant. You might see a new genre called profession. That's basically when a show focuses more on the job or profession at hand rather than the characterization or the slice of life moments or the dramatic moments. There's more focus on the job more than anything else. Okay. So methodology. How did we choose these shows? All right, we're gonna go on. First, we're not going to cover crap. Okay, so every show that we're covering tonight has a Mal score of at least 6. That's typically the barrier between niche and absolute garbage. So if you like these shows, these are examples of shows below 6. If you like them, watch them on your own time. We're not going to waste your time with that. Okay. Second of all, the first season must have aired in 2020. 2020 was a very bad year for everyone, especially in the anime world, so a lot of studios banked on bankable franchises. We're not going to cover second and third seasons. There's nothing we can say and to convince you to watch a show if you haven't already watched the show. If you liked Kaguya-sama Season 1, you're going to watch Kaguya-sama Season 2 despite whatever we tell you. And if you hated Season 1, well, there's no way we can convince you to watch Season 2 otherwise. Alright, so Season 1 must have aired in 2020. We are not covering Kaguya-sama. We are not covering ReZero. So like, no, why do we didn't cover that? This is why. All right. Next, for movies, we're covering 2 movies, and I believe one of them was released in 2019. Well, we're basing it off the English release in 2020, and again, they have to be standalone. You might see Jose, the Tiger and the Fish. That was released in Japan in 2020, but it just went to theaters just a few months ago in the States, so it doesn't count. We're not covering those. So once we filtered out all of that, left us with about 90 shows rather than typical 150 or shows you see in a typical year of anime. We're covering almost half of them tonight, so we've been pretty thorough. Hopefully you'll enjoy our picks. Alright, I'm just going to quickly read the chat because we are a little bit ahead. Envy the Shade, I respect it. Oh dang, I realized I need to watch Oregaru Season 3. Well, yeah, but we can't convince you otherwise. Alright, so let's move on. I am not a huge action fan, so actually Marissa is going to cover all 7 shows in this genre. Take it away, we're going to start, let's go.
So let's start with Akudama Drive. This is like a hyper violent cyberpunk show that's kind of, it has like a strange 80s Tokyo cityscape setting. It's a lot of fun. So this ultra plain kind of like hyper normie girl gets involved with this band of criminals called Akudama who all have like silly 80s action movie names. There's one like named Hacker, there's one named Hoodlum, and they're all trying to team up. Um, and deal with special police who are highly, highly trained to kill them. It's definitely a show that knows it's stupid and fully just does whatever stupid thing it can think of. Like, it has motorcycle chases across the city, it has huge explosions, it also has lightsabers. Like, it truly is a show that is not afraid to just be dumb.
Yeah, the timer paused for a moment, so I'm gonna have to cut you off. We got a lot of anime, so
Oh,
let's move on to the next show.
so Tower of God. This is based on a manhwa. I don't read a lot of manga or manhwa to begin with. I know this is a really popular one on Webtoon. A boy with amnesia wakes up in a cave, doesn't remember who he is, sees the first person he's ever seen named Rachel, and they form a nice bond, living for each other in a dark cave. And then one day, they are summoned by the tower, which is this gigantic floating citadel thing in the sky where they have to fight through each of the floors and meet all kinds of crazy people um, to get to the top to make a wish. The main character, Bam's wish, is to reunite with Rachel. They got reunited, and Rachel's wish is to see the stars. Super fun, a lot less shonen-y than I expected. It's pretty cool. It also has insane sound design. I can't think of another show where I thought the OST was so good.
All right, let's move on.
So, brand new animal. This is by Studio Trigger, the infamous Studio Trigger. It has a pretty simple concept at the get-go. This Tanuki girl is trying to get to Beast City, which is a big metropolis where beastmen are cast out of humanity. For being beastmen, humans think they're like these gross, violent, scary creatures, when beastmen are just like us. They're just guys who want to live their lives. Eventually, she gets wrapped up in a big mystery surrounding what beastmen are, what they're like. This sounds like a really fun show, and it mostly is. You'd think it's Trigger, you'd think it's a lot of fun. But then what seems like an allegory just about racism turns into like a Holocaust story. It's very strange. Trigger is not the studio I would expect to deal with something so heavy, and I do feel like they kind of flub it, but it's still got lots of action.
Okay.
A man who is so rich, his bank balance is unlimited, hence the title, joins the incredibly shabby modern crimes division of the local police department, where he meets our main character, Haru, who is like an ultra justice, straight to the point, by the books kind of detective, and they hate each other. The titular millionaire, Daisuke, just solves crimes by destroying anything he can and then just paying the costs himself because his bank balance is unlimited. This turns into like a pretty personal mystery and drama story involving another member of their group and the titular millionaire. It has all sorts of like goofy action scenes, like driving luxury cars through tons of other cars.
Okay, someone's asking, is this Batman the anime?
Yeah, kind of. He has like dumb high tech stuff, just like Batman. It's a pretty good comparison. I totally agree.
All right.
God of High School. I also did not read this manhwa. This has it really tries. It literally like speed runs almost 100 chapters. It is insane. It doesn't make a lot of sense. The characters are very strangely written. It tries to cram way too much in. I would recommend this, not because I actually think it's very good, but because it's so funny to just watch the show do something new and insane every episode. I watched this with somebody, and we had extreme difficulty keeping any of the story elements together, because they try to adapt so much in such a small amount of time, but the fight scenes are really cool. It's hilarious to watch. Like, it truly is like grab some popcorn and some adult beverages and go nuts. Deca-Dence. So I will explain what the plot is, and then I will recommend you to take off your headphones for the actual plot, because it has a very strange reveal. So, the last bastion of humanity is all set up in this mobile fortress called Deca-Dence, where they have to fight these big monsters called Gaddles to survive. I'm not going to spoil the rest of the plot for you, because it's so weird that I actually can't mention anything else. So, okay, humanity was actually entirely wiped out, and the cyborg overlords that control us treat Earth like a monster hunting MMO where humans are basically just NPCs, which is really funny. And one of them develops a consciousness for our main character, and he's like, I can't just let her die. Like, she's like my new daughter. It's pretty heartwarming, lots of fun, lots of action.
All right. And the big one.
Jujutsu Kaisen is, again, I didn't read the very popular manga associated with this. The basic plot is that a regular run-of-the-mill shonen protagonist high school boy joins the occult club where there's literal supernatural beings and sorcerers who get him tangled up in eating these cursed fingers where he has to eat all 19 to essentially get rid of this giant cursed being. It has lots of crazy fights, but it also has like the regular shonen pacing where things just happen. And oh man, I'm so sorry to everybody in chat saying they love this.
They're saying it's gold. Right, quickly.
Yeah, I if you like it, you like it. You're already gonna watch it. You don't need me to tell you.
All right. Go ahead, introduce comedy. Just quickly.
So comedy. Humor is truly subjective. We have a couple picks here that we felt different ways about. We're just trying to have a little fun before we die. Yeah. Wave, listen to me. This is based on a really popular manga about a woman who, after her boyfriend breaks up with her, and she's very bitter about it, drunkenly rants to a man at a bar one night who turns out to be the director of a local radio show. He likes her so much that he decides to give her her own show, but it's at 3 a.m. And he's like, I'm not going to give you a normal radio show. You're going to do all sorts of totally insane stuff. I found the main character, Minare, very grating, very selfish, and very annoying. And if you like loud, boisterous female characters, you'll probably like her. I generally like that, but I thought she was so whiny. I wish they had just focused on the radio show stuff. She does a lot of cool stuff in the radio show. I wish they had focused more on the behind the scenes of working at a radio station.
All right, so Marisa's talked enough. Thank you so much. I'm gonna tag in with Sleepy Princess and the Demon Cast. So Doga Kobo was busy in 2020 despite the pandemic. They made 4 shows. I'm covering all 4 of them. So first up, there's this. It's a one-trick pony, but it's done very well. She is captured by demons who aren't really necessarily that evil, but they give her a really poor bed, and then she tries to pimp the bed up by making it better, softer, better pillow, better blanket, got shades around it, and there's typically 2 skits in every episode where she goes on a mission, a mini mission in the castle to get what she wants, the ingredients or the resources required to make her bed better. And I thought the trick got a little bit stale near the end, but it's still a refreshingly unique comedy, and check it out. It's got decent production value. Let's go on. Yeah. All right. The big one, Rent a Girlfriend. This one was watched a lot simply because a lot of studios shut down in summer, and this was one of the only shows that aired in the summer. What's really much to say is that the main character, Kazuya, is a total you're gonna hate him. He does he acts like a teenager, which means he acts really dumb, and that's what causes all the cringe comedy to happen in the show. Now, what I really wanted the show to do was to blow up and have the secret get out. So, the secret in the end, it doesn't get out. It's really a read the manga ending as they introduced 3 more girls into the mix. And the manga's still going, but. For your cringe comedy, go ahead and give this one a shot. It's, Gigek from YouTube really liked it, and maybe you might too. Alright, Interspecies Reviewers. This one was so hot, Funimation dropped it after episode 3 or 4, because it is a R18 show where they talk about how different species have sex and how pleasurable it can be for other species, because the main party is with a human and an elf, and they have different preferences, and their debate ends up turning into a professional gig, and they get an angel, and then they have a 4th reviewer, rotating viewer, and Right Stuff International, who is a sponsor of Otakuthon, they picked it up, and the Blu-rays are available later, but right now there is no legal stream because it was just too hot to pick up. There you go. All right, let's move on. So now we got the slice of life genre. Everyone loves slice of life. Some people find it boring. See, if you're into action, well, you already got that covered. Let's go into slice of life. Let's go. Tonikawa. So the premise here is that the couple is already set. So if you are annoyed by harem shows where the main guy is a wimp and doesn't choose anyone at the end, well, you know what? These two become a couple by the end of episode 1. So it is very relaxing. They do all sorts of couple first time things, but I felt that it was more like they acted like 2 children make believing that they were a couple, because they don't really it doesn't really seem like they're in love with each other until very late into the show, and even then it's not really lovey-dovey. It's let's try this because this is what couples do. So I was a little bit put off by that, but in a genre filled with so many rom-coms that don't have a payoff, at least this one gets it done and over with. Yay. All right, let's go on. I liked this one better. Adachi and Shimamura. It is a very beautiful looking show from a studio who isn't otherwise known for good visuals. Now here the pace is actually slower than, I believe it's a little bit slower than Tonikawa. In fact, they just mostly do everyday activities like going shopping, doing club activities, hanging out, and this one really needs a season 2, because their relationship only moves maybe rather centimeters rather than meters, and by the end of the show you don't feel like their relationship has progressed to a point, but you know what? It's just 2 girls having fun, and sometimes that's all you really need. It is relaxing, but it's not. If you're looking for a conclusive ending, this isn't it. But it looks good. It's probably one of the best Yuri bait shows of the year. So give that a try. Let's go on. Uzaki-chan Wants to Hang Out. This one, a lot of people consider is the worst of the 3 teasing shows, but it's so simple that it got a season 2 greenlit. Again, it was aired in the summertime in the same season as Rent a Girlfriend, so a lot of people just watched this because they had nothing better to watch. Very simple production value, and the first 2 episodes makes you think that this is going to go overboard with ecchi, but all of the ecchi and all the boob jokes drop after episode 2. After that, it just turns into more of a standard slice of life fare where they hang out with each other. Apparently, one of the later episodes was completely sponsored by a city looking for more tourism. But yeah, it's just 2 adults doing activities with each other, and if you like that, give that a shot. But probably you want to try the other two teasing shows first. Next. All right. Next Life, I really enjoyed this one. This was one of the best shows of the year for me. Just because Katarina is a very dynamic protagonist. You want to cheer for her the entire show. She's very dim-witted, but she's very spunky, has a lot of heart, and what ends up happening is she gets a harem of both guys and girls as she tries to transition from a doomed antagonist fate to a protagonist that everybody likes. And it did get a season 2 greenlit. However, I felt that the show ended on a very high note, that if you just want to see the one season, you're done with it, fine. It ends rather well for a season 1, and it's just, it's a very nice show, and I think if you just want a feel good show, this is it. All right, let's keep going on, and Marisa, it's back to you.
Kakushikoto. This is sort of a fun slice of life comedy show about, it centers, I guess, more around a father and his very cute, naive little daughter, who he is trying to hide the fact that he is a disgusting pervert ecchi mangaka from. It's more of an ensemble cast show in that it centers around these people. It's not really super focused on the relationship between the father and the daughter like a show like Usagi Drop is, for example. Seeing all the ensemble cast work together to help the mangaka hide his profession from his daughter is a lot of fun. He also gets into a lot of strange hijinks where women think that he wants to marry them through various weird things he says. I will warn you, it has a very strange, melancholic, melodramatic B-plot that I won't spoil here, but it definitely did ruin a little bit of the end of the show for me.
All right.
Gal and Dino. So, this show is not just what it seems. It is a heartwarming slice of life about a gal who one night she gets drunk, and when she wakes up the next morning, she has a blue, big, mute dinosaur as a roommate now. They do all sorts of nice roomy things like exchange Christmas gifts and make dinner for each other and hang out with their friends. But then the other half of the show kicks in and it's live action, and it's a time traveling segment based on the dinosaur's life and Aya Shota from the Pop Team Epic timeline trying to reset the old roommate of the dino's life so that he doesn't die. It's such a strange twist, but it really does work together into this both heartwarming and insane show. Like, this is one I think you have to check out.
The chat's going crazy. It's like, is that Cookie Monster?
Yeah, he's really cute. Please don't be mean.
All right.
I love him.
All right. So we're going to move on to adventure shows. Again, this is more about the journey rather than the outcome, and focusing on adventure more than the other genres.
So Appare-Ranman is about an eccentric inventor who literally only cares about inventing things and tinkering with gadgets, and a straight-laced but cowardly samurai who, after a bit of a misunderstanding, get lost at sea on a steamboat and hauled into America. With no money and no way to get home, they obviously decide to enter a cross-America car race, like the Cannonball Run, except it's at the turn of the century, so everything's like a steam-powered car-esque thing instead. This show's fun, but it's not so much about the car chase as it is all of the characters bouncing off of each other and forming relationships, which is nice, but I wanted more car parts, I guess. I'm a sucker for racing shows, I guess. Still a lot of fun. Do check it out. I can't think of another show like it besides maybe Steel Ball Run when that gets adapted.
Okay, so I'm going to take over now. Somali and the Forest Spirit. This one I actually watched the Anime NYC a couple months before it actually aired. But besides that, this one, visuals are really nice for a satellite show. I know satellites visuals aren't always the best, but this one's probably as good as you can get from the studio. Again, it's all about the adventure and the environment around them, where the the golem picks up a human and tries to deliver the human back to her kind. However, they live in a world where all the monsters eat humans, so she has to be kept in disguise all the time, and they go from town to town trying to gather more information. Now, it does have a little bit of an open ending, so if you don't mind that, check this one out, but it's not a conclusive ending, it's rather open, but hey, it looks good and is good. Alright, let's go. So, Bofuri, of the 3 defensive Shield anime, I felt this one was the weakest. I know it's the cutest and it's the least dramatic of the 3 when compared against Shield Hero and Cautious Hero. So some people actually prefer this one over the other 2, but this one is what happens if you take Shield Hero and get rid of all of the drama and all of the plot, all of the story, and they just have fun in their game environment and talk and have fun and log out at the end of the day. So my issue with this is the same with Shield Hero in that eventually Maple does absorb attacks and learns offensive attacks that come out of her shield, making her an overpowered character, kind of ruining the premise of the show, because then she can suddenly attack everyone, right? I wanted to see more defensive tactics. Alright, let's go. Wandering Witch. This is my pick for the most beautiful TV show of 2020. It is the visuals here are absolutely stunning, and it's not just the first episode, it doesn't let up. Absolutely stunning visuals. Watch it for the visuals alone. However, this one was very inconsistent with the messages it was trying to send. It didn't know whether to be a more serious show, a nihilistic show like Kino's Journey, or a more relaxing slice of life show. It kind of ping-pongs between the two, and it doesn't know which direction to take. So you have this really, really serious episode complete with a violence warning in episode, I believe, 10, and then episode 9, and then the last 3 episodes are just slice of life stuff. I'm like, ooh, very jarring. Lots of whiplash. But, I mean, it's an inferior Kino's Journey, but it's got better visuals. So, if you like that, check that out. All right. Drama. So, I know Marisa isn't a big fan of hard drama. These ones are just much harder drama. I love soap operas. Let's get into it. I'm covering both of them. All right, you might have heard of this one. Makoto Shinkai's latest and greatest, Weathering with You. It was not received as well as Your Name. Simply because I think this one piled on more of a drama and it had an ending that some people did not agree with. Whereas with Your Name, everyone was okay with the ending because it was a more uplifting ending. This one, you're gonna take it or leave it. But again, lots of rain visuals. Rain is how you is how you go wow when looking at it. I mean, this is Makoto Shinkai. If you like Your Name, I really don't have to convince you to try this one out. If you think all of his stories are kind of simple and non-deep, because that is the criticism of Makoto Shinkai, then this isn't going to change your mind. All right? Let's move on to Sing Yesterday for Me. This one reminded me of a show that I watched a long time ago called True Tears, in which the guy does not choose the correct girl. Maybe some people did think that he did choose the correct girl, but it's much of a love triangle where everyone is hesitant and because they just don't know what to do. And it's a very rather slow-paced show. They lots of talking, almost no. The animation was very Spartan. Doga Kobo actually kept animating this through the pandemic lockdown, and they shut down the other show, which I'll cover later. But a lot of manga fans were upset about the ending because the ending is an anime original ending that rushes through everything else. But you know what? I liked it because I don't want to read the manga. I thought it ended fine. I was okay with the ending, whereas a lot of people weren't. So, yeah, hard drama. This is probably the hardest drama of 2020. And let's take a break now. Let's respond to chat. We are 1 minute ahead. I'm just gonna read some of these.
When we
Rush.
talk about annoying characters,
Yeah,
said
go Marissa.
somebody.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just wondering what character in Sing Yesterday for me was annoying. I haven't watched it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to read this. All right. The meme on all witches wearing Mark Andre says, "Lol, that meme on all witches wearing giant hats to compensate." Yeah, yeah. Elaina is sassy, so some people didn't like the show because it was a bunch of she was too sassy. But
Sassy
so
characters are good.
okay,
I
hi, I
say,
can't.
and I didn't
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
show with a woman who was very boisterous. So
yeah.
can I really say that?
Yeah, so hi, I can't PK. Only 3 shows? You mean the rest were terrible? We couldn't convince you otherwise? All right. Well, let's move on ahead and keep going. Suspense. So, suspense is basically the action genre for big brain people. Well, maybe not, but these ones focus more on the story development rather than action scenes. And so let's go on with it. This one, nobody watched the show. It is a very obscure show, as indicated by popular, because fall was a very popular big season. It was people were also scared off because it was based on a game. The source was a game, but it's actually anime original because this show is a prequel to the events of the game. I thought the animation for this show was very Spartan, but I did like how the story kept expanding into something greater than it's originally conceived, and it does end in a rather sour mood. It's because if it were a good ending, then the events of the game would not exist. So it's kind of like Fate Zero in that regard. Without the dour ending, then there's not going to be the Fate Stay Night for Fate Zero. So do check it out. I think this was the dark horse of the year. Very underrated and underwatched. Let's move on. It Invaded. The easiest way to describe this one is that it's Inception the anime. So if you liked Inception, this one's right up your alley. The only issue with it is that it relies on forwarding the story so much that you really can't connect or feel for any of the characters involved within it. They're all just they all just seem like tools to further the greater narrative. But it is a show that you probably need to watch twice in order to get everything. I didn't watch it twice, but I thought for someone I personally didn't really care for Inception that much. I thought it was one of Christopher Nolan's weakest films, but I did end up liking this. So there's not really much to say rather than if you can understand the abstractness of going into someone's mind, give this one a shot. All right. Before I move on, my chat's not refreshing, so there we go. And I'm just gonna move on to the next one. Moriarty the Patriot. This one, you've got the 3 Moriarty brothers, and it's been done before, portraying the brothers as anti-heroes. Portraying them as anti-heroes because they do feel that the nobility is corrupt, but if they want to try to deal with it, without resorting to evil methods, well then it's not going to happen, because if the enemy plays dirty, then you got to play dirty as well. So they do end up solving issues and problems, but not in a good sort of way. They do it in their own way, but you end up cheering for them anyway because who they encounter are so miserable and evil that you want them to succeed. So there's a season 2. I haven't watched the season 2 yet, but I'll get to that later. All right, next. Gleipnir. This, I'm going to be honest with you, this is probably the weakest show that I am covering in this panel. It is, I couldn't even say it's a discount diary, because that would insult Future Diary. I mean, discount Future Diary. The problem with this one is that it is a huge read the manga commercial, in that there is a filler arc in the middle of it, and then they don't really resolve they don't really have the main arc progress further enough, and there is a little bit of violence, but the characters who die in this show are all minor characters. None of the main characters do die, and you really want something like that in a show sort of like this. And also, the main character is is probably the biggest wimp of the year, and that's part of his character because his monster form is an empty shell in which the girl goes into him to fight. All right, let's move on. Talentless Nana. It's gonna be hard to describe this one, simply because this one is sort of like School Live and Promise Neverland in that there is a twist at the end of the first episode. So I'm not going to spoil that for you, but in this case, there are students with superpowers, but they train on a remote island. Yes, it's My Hero Academia. I'm not even gonna say it's discount My Hero Academia, but this one takes on a much sharper turn, and what I didn't like about this one, and it's an okay watch, but what I didn't like about this one is that halfway into the show it drops its dark premise, and then it tries to be righteous when it really shouldn't. It should have just went all the way with its dark premise, but give it a shot. I don't think there's going to be a second season, so if you're okay with an incomplete story, go for it. All right, Marisa, back to you.
So, Dorohedoro, I don't feel like needs a lot of introduction. I feel like this is a pretty insane show, and everybody knows that, even if they haven't watched it. So, this amnesiac, lizard-headed man in the photo was cursed by a sorcerer to have this lizard head, and he wants to figure out who did it to him, and he wants to be turned back into a human, as one probably would when they're a giant lizard. So he and his gyoza-making chef best friend go out on a journey to find out what wizard did this to him, and to determine exactly how to do that, he has to chomp people's faces where there's a head inside his mouth that is assumedly not his, who will tell whoever is in his mouth at any given time if that's the guy that did it. This obviously attracts lots of people's attention, including a powerful mushroom wizard mafioso family.
Ooh, I know you wanted to talk more about that, but time's up. We gotta move on.
A little small-time con man gets essentially conned into being part of a con man group, a big globe-trotting, multi-million, colorful, crazy show that kind of, I guess, is like Ocean's 11 or Ocean's 12. The person I watched this with kept being like, this reminds me of Ocean's 11, and I was like, I haven't seen that, I'm sorry. It's fun. All the characters are really cool. A lot of the cons they do weave into their backstories, so I think it makes for a really interesting, fun, global romp. However, the thing people did not like about this show was the final con, or the final arc. It takes up 9 episodes, I believe, and people were pretty disappointed, unfortunately. It feels like the show is conning the audience at the very end. It is a good way to put it, but still a lot of fun.
All right. So we're going to move on to the profession genre. We've already described that, so let's just move on so we don't waste time.
Ooh, sorry, I'm getting a little bit of lag. So Smiled on the Runway, an aspiring model whose father owns a modeling agency, dreams of walking on the Paris runways, but unfortunately, she's too short. I didn't realize this was a real thing before this show, unfortunately. So she's too short, she can't do it. Everybody's telling her no, but she's very determined to do so. One day at her school, she meets a talented but poor designer who's sewing, and she wears one of his outfits out, and it gains attention. So he essentially just enrolls in several contests to make different garments and work with designers. This truly is a show that focuses a lot on the industry that it's portraying, both the modeling industry and the fashion or garment industry. It's pretty cool. I like both those things, so maybe this was more personally interesting to me, but if you're all interested in either of them, I think this is a good place to start. I had a lot of fun watching this.
Okay, let's go on.
Case Files of Julia Richard. So this heroic college student essentially saves this very handsome foreign man. The show really wants you to know that Richard is handsome and foreign. They bring it up a lot. And begins working at his jewelry store where they solve, I was going to say mysteries. A lot of them aren't mysteries. They're more like personal drama between the clients that come in. And all sorts of different gemstones they bring in or pieces of jewelry. The show definitely focuses a lot on actually explaining different things about the gems they're appraising or the history behind them or how they're mined, for example. I thought that was pretty interesting. It's maybe a little dry for some people. The show is very slow. But consider it edutainment, I guess. You learn a little, you get a little drama, a little, I don't know, a bit of a fun. I can't think of another show like this. Like, it's a fun show just on premise alone. I can't think of another jewelry-related show.
Oh, well, there's Asteroid in Love, but I didn't like that one. I think that was
Yeah.
2019 though. So
You said that was more like geology.
yeah, it
and,
has
like,
geology, topology,
yeah.
and astronomy. All right, let's go.
Hands Off Aizoken, this is definitely one of the big ones that people watched, and it's also one of the ones that squeaked in right before everything got shut down, essentially. This is made by Masaki Yuasa, who needs no introduction if you're at all into anime. He makes a lot of really cool off-the-wall stuff, like Ping Pong or Kimonozume. This is truly like a love letter, not just to the field of animation, but the industry in itself. These three girls want to produce an any anime, and each of them fills a different role in it. One is like really obsessed with putting together the story, one's really obsessed with animation, and one is obsessed with business. So together they have to avoid the student council, as they are not actually the anime club, they're the film club. It goes through a lot of the difficulties of actually distributing anime or dealing with client requests, as well as just being a love letter at animation. This one's a must watch, in my opinion.
All right, I think I'm up next. Oh boy, Ikebukuro West Gateway. People dropped this like flies because they thought it was going to be an action show with a lot of infighting between gangs. It couldn't be further than that. It's about a mediator who has a trust of all of the gangs, and he goes around and he acts as a peaceful mediator to solve and becomes an everyman handyman to solve problems. This one split up into two types of episodes: the one shot help episodes and the gang turf episodes, which are 2 episode arcs. There's 2 of them, so it's 8 episodes of help, 4 episodes of gang, and it's a very weird show. Again, it doesn't know whether or not to be a healing show or an action show without the action. But I felt some of its help episodes were very strong, and I think it is a dark horse. It's check it out. Okay. So now we get on to the music shows. You know, these shows are the ones that nobody covers. Like all the award shows, they don't even consider these at all, but we do because we're cultured. Let's go. I really liked this one. This one is probably the least idolish show. It's more actually a slice of life show than anything, because there's only one full idol performance segment in this show in the first episode. But what it shows is it really shows some positivity of the Wota fandom, and and everyone in the fandom is depicted positively, and I think it's a good watch because of that. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about how you look or how you perceive yourself, as long as the idols are there to fulfill your life, then that's great, because the main character, she's not a hot looking person either, but she gets all her happiness from supporting the least popular girl of an unpopular band idol group. Yeah. So all right, let's go to D4DJ First Mix. This is animated by Sans Again. If you've watched any show by Sans Again, especially Bang Dream or ID Zero, which is really obscure, it's the love it or hate it animation style. It's very rough 3D CG. It's 100% CG, 3D CG animated, and there's not really much to say about this one other than if you liked Bang Dream, this is basically Bang Dream with DJs. There's with one DJ, one VJ, and two karaoke singer dancers, and so it's just that with different bands. It's by it's produced by Bushiroad, and they have so much money. They made the entire show free on YouTube. You can watch out the episodes like that without any guilt. So, not really much to say. Just them having fun, becoming a DJ group. Yeah. Marisa, back to you.
So this is the first of 3 idol shows I'm about to cover, and I think this one is the best one. So these are all essentially failed idols, I guess. Not all of them are originally idols. One of them, for example, is a former child star who is struggling to get work as a teenager. The production company they work for is not doing so hot, and they need to earn some money to save their dorm. So their manager or their producer is like, okay, surprise, you're an idol group now. The only girl who actually wants to be an idol is our main character, the pink-haired girl. And these 4 girls, and eventually 5, are just like horrible gremlins. Most idol shows are afraid to show their cast being actually funny or doing things that aren't cute, or cute girls doing cute things. This show does let them do whatever they want. They're all horrible little gremlin people. This one's the must-watch of the bunch, in my opinion.
All right, let's go on.
Okay, this is based on, I guess, a real idol group. I didn't know this at first. I do believe they also voice act all the characters. This has an insane premise in that they're just living their normal lives, and they are summoned through the mail to go work for a production company and become idols. The way they're summoned is that a wall in the basement of this production company spits out these big metal plaques that are like, you need to recruit this girl, or you need to have a bikini beach photo shoot. So they just have to do what the wall says. Unfortunately, the characters are a little flat, and it has some truly, truly horrible CG dancing. I do think the songs are pretty good. They are probably just real idol songs. I don't know much about the group, unfortunately. It is left open at the very end, and I don't know, the mystery of the wall doesn't get resolved. That's like the hook of the show, and they don't really do anything with it. It's a weird one.
The chat seems a little quiet on this one. Yeah, it's a pass.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
So this is an ultra indie movie. It's produced by one person. It took 7 years to make. It is about these 3 punks who, with nothing better to do, start a band. They don't know how to play instruments. They perform some, I don't know, ultra progressive music, I guess is how they put it. They eventually attract the attention of the folk music club at their school, who are just enamored by the weirdness of this group's music, and they're invited to perform a festival. I won't spoil anything about the festival because it's definitely the best part of this movie. Please check this one out. It is so funny and so weird, and I didn't know what to expect from it. I watched this with somebody who does make a lot of music and is a lot more musically inclined than me, and he was like, oh yeah, these guys are sick. So like, not only is it good, apparently their music's good too. Thumbs up. Please check this one out.
Yeah, it's 45 minutes. Like
it's not long.
Yeah, it's not long. All right.
And the worst of the idol shows, it's Love Live. Yay. I'm actually a really big Love Live fan. I played both of the rhythm games. So this one is sort of an odd duck in the Love Live franchise. 3 of the girls were originally like normie throwaway cards in the first Love Live game, and they decided to take that concept and turn them into an anime. So all of the girls pictured are solo idols, essentially. The main girl, who is just another Chika or Honoka alike, and their producer, who's named Yu because they're meant to be you in the game, start a school idol club after seeing one idol performance and falling in love with idols. So they get a bunch of people together, 9, and aren't actually a group. Everybody performs solo and has to set up their own concerts. This one is not good. All the girls are really undercharacterized. The music's pretty lame, and the surprise random concert style of it is not it. This is a sad, sad low point of Love Live, unfortunately. just wait for, well, the new one's airing now. It's very good. Please watch that instead.
Yeah, you got to rant about that for a few extra seconds because the chat was cut off there for a second. So, all right.
I couldn't hear the timer either.
All right, so now we've got 2 anime left to cover. We're a little bit behind, but I think we can finish. So, in order to understand our trash taste, we're gonna give you a look at our anime of the year picks for the past 5 years. Quickly going over them. 2015 was terrible. Death Parade over One Punch Man. 2016 Erased. I thought Genroku Rakugo Shinjo was awesome, so that would be my number 2 pick. 2017 Aho Girl over Made in Abyss, because I thought it was the best comedy, one of the best comedies I've ever seen. It's smart comedy, so there. 2018 Happy Sugar Life over Asobi Asobase and Violet Evergarden, because Happy Sugar Life is one of my 3 10 out of 10 shows. It made me think for a while right after it ended. I think it was just one of the best shows I ever watched, period. 2018 was a really strong year. 2019 Kono Ototomare was I thought Sound Euphonium, but better, because the teamwork was awesome, and that's all I really have to say about that one. All right, Marisa, quickly.
I'm a huge Ikuhara fan. Utena is one of my favorite shows of all time, so obviously I had to watch the Ikuhara show. It's a show about lesbian bears. I don't know what to tell you. It was basically made for me. Shogun Roku Rakugo Shinju is truly like a hard drama that I was surprised that I liked as much as I did. Rakugo is a really cool art. Aka 13 is like basically a cop show with a lot of interesting elements of crossing this strange, interesting country. Asobi Asobase, I think it's funnier than Aho Girl. I'm going to say it, Dave. I don't know what to tell you. 3 horrible gremlins just ruining everybody's lives. And then Sarah Zanmai, it's another Ikuhara show. This one's about kappas and gay otter cops. Again, it was basically made for me. I don't know what to tell you.
All right, so now that you know our trash taste, Marisa, you're up first. Anime of the year.
So, my pick was Toilet-Con Hanako-kun. So, this ultra unlucky in love girl, Nene, wishes to the regular fable, I guess, in Japan, or like urban legend of Hanako-san, which is a ghost that will grant you a wish and lives in a toilet. So she goes, and instead of being the beloved Hanako-san, it's this horrible little gremlin guy named Hanako-kun, who her wish doesn't go very good for her because her crush rejects her. But instead, she gets shackled to this ghost by just being a horrible little gremlin person. I love that for her. It's like a fun supernatural adventure that I thought was really heartwarming and really funny and pretty cute. Nene is truly like a cool girl protagonist that I think every girl and every boy probably can relate to, and that she's just incredibly unlucky and just trying her best, and her best just is not good enough ever. A lot of fun. I really recommend you check this one out.
All right, and to end it, my pick. Oh boy, so the 4th and final Doga Kobo show that I covered for 2020. All right, so this one, I went in, didn't expect anything. I just expected a nice fun romp, but this one was way more enjoyable than it had any right to be. It is very rooted into the ESGK subgenre of slice of life. Which is similar to like Laid Back Camp, where the environment is everything. What I really loved about this is that Hina doesn't just automatically accept the Breakwater Club's activities. She's really grossed out by them, and she learns to be better. She learns to do their activities and enjoy them, but what the other members of the club do is that they don't handhold her. They just give her tips and tricks, maybe demonstrate it once or twice, but then afterwards she's on her own and she has to do everything by herself. I like that, really like that aspect of it. And yeah, I thought this was the best show of the year in a year filled with otherwise mediocre shows. So this was I gave it an 8 out of 10. I didn't give any 9s or 10s in 2020. All right. So, it's right now 10:55. We have like 3 or 4 minutes left. So I'm just going to quickly read the chat just to see what's going on. Anyone would like us to talk about anything we didn't cover really quickly, because we only have about a minute or 2 left. Can we list? Can we have a list of all anime? Well, right now I don't have the PowerPoint ready for a PDF, but Otakuthon does have video on demand for this event, so you'll be able to watch it after the convention is over and just rewatch the entire panel like that. So you can just record it like that. So video on demand after it's done.
In the chat, you can look right now if you go to my anime list. I'm Detroit Metal City on my anime list. I actually have a tag system for all of the shows that at least I reviewed. If you just click through, like Akudama Drive, for example, it's very close to the top. It's YWR20. If you click on that, it'll just give you all the shows that I reviewed today.
All right, so anyone want us to talk about Shoujo because we've watched more anime than this, but this is all we could cover in the hour. Uma Musume season 2. Well, that's this year, not last year. So
yeah. Hanako is good. I was surprised I liked Hanako as much as I did.
Yeah, so anyway, well, if there's nothing else, thank you very much for watching this panel with us. It was a lot of work, but we went through 42 shows in 1 hour. So enjoy the rest of Otakuthon at home. I will be hosting Anime Speedtune Sunday at 5 p.m. or 17 o'clock for all you Quebecers. Sunday, 5 p.m. And Marisa won't be with me, but she'll be with me in spirit, and that's the
and
event.
In the chat, probably.
Yeah, and in the chat as well. And again, if there's nothing else, thank you very much for coming. And this is the last. Yeah, this is the last event of Otakuthon for today, at the very least. So there's 2 more days, and that's it. Thank you very much. Take care, everyone.